Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Southwest Magazine. My guests today are Shelley Turner and Carolyn Davies of the St. Andrews Paddling Club. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks for having us, Vicki.
This is great.
I know you have some exciting news about the first ever Dragon Boat Festival coming to St. Andrews this next month, coming in August. Can you tell me a little about when it is and what we should expect?
Well, it's on August 27th. It is an all-day festival. We are limiting to a maximum of 12 teams because we are using our own 2 boats, and so we have to control the number of races. We will guarantee each team at least 2 races, and there might be a challenge at the end where the best boats. We'll see how the day unfolds. So far, we have I believe 5 teams confirmed, 2 from away, which is really fun, and 3 from the local area. We would like to see some of our competitors from our fun day last year come back, because they have been asking for this, so it'd be great if they did come back. We've changed the format this year from a fun day. We've gone with where we actually are charging the teams, because we've brought in 22 Dragons, which is a professional company that runs dragon boat festivals around the world. And so we want to do it right, and we want people to have a really good time and know that when they get wet on the water, it's because they were having fun. So that's sort of where that's at. Shelley, I think there's a lot of other things.
If you were, let's say, a spectator, what could you expect from the event?
Well, we actually participated in our very first festival this year, as a club ever, this past weekend in New Glasgow, and really the camaraderie of all of the teams is incredible. Watching the races on the water is a lot of fun, so we're planning on having as well vendors there on site. We're hoping to have someone do face painting or maybe tattoo painting type things, so we want it to be a family event, so for everybody, and also for the teams, it's not necessarily a competitive type race, although there will be some competition, but it's a corporate challenge, so it's really more to have fun. And we're hoping that the town of St. Andrews is actually putting in a team. We know that. So we're hoping that they will challenge town of St. Stephen and St. George and the rest of the area, as well as some other clubs in town that are in the community, I should say, in the region.
I was going to ask if there were local teams, but that answers one of my questions right there. When you talk about that, as the town of St. Andrews, does that mean in terms of skill level, let's say you wanted to be, I want to talk about skill level in terms of joining the club, but I'd start first by talking about skill level in the festival. Do you have to be a team that's well practiced? How are some of these teams coming together?
Go ahead.
The sport of dragon boating began in this country to raise awareness of breast cancer survivors. So the initial racing was people putting together a team, raising money to help with combat breast cancer, to allow people who are recovering from all the horrible things that you have to undergo when you're dealing with cancer to get physically fit again and become. But most of them don't have any experience. They come to a race for the fun of getting on the water, for the fun of being on a team with a group of like-minded people. It is, as Shelley said, it's not competitive. Most people will have been in the boat once before. We'll let them have a practice, and then they go on the water and race. And so it's the competitive spirit does come out, but it is all in good fun. I think that's really the biggest thing for me about dragon boating, just in general as a sport, is the fun and the camaraderie. As Shelley said, of the team and the teams. We were 27 teams in New Glasgow, and I felt by the end I knew about five or six people from each different team. So it just is. It's amazing.
What was that experience like of your first race? Do I dare ask how well you did, or at least what the experience was like?
We came in third in every single race.
Well, except the last one.
Except for the last one where we. Yeah. Anyway, I will say that I did. On the note that Carolyn was saying, I've talked to teams that not only had they not raced before, but some of them hadn't even met before. So they arrive at a race weekend, and it's a corporate challenge. They had brought people from all over the province from the same company, and not even met before. So they basically were put into a boat. They didn't even get to practice together. So it was, and they still did pretty well actually. So, but it was a lot of fun.
How big a team do you, let's say someone's at home right now and thinking last minute of, okay, I'm going to put a team together for this festival. How big or small can a team be?
We're saying if people can get 12 people together, we'd prefer to have 16 in the boat, but we can, other people will supplement. We ended up, 2 of our paddlers unfortunately had to drop out of New Glasgow at the last minute, and it was totally, circumstances beyond their control. And we got paddlers from the other teams to come and paddle with us. It was tremendous.
Wow.
2 of which had never paddled before in their lives. This was their first time paddling ever, and they did great.
Yeah.
I think one of the interesting things about the club itself is that it attracts people not just of all skill levels, but all ages. So if you're looking to build a team for this, or just thinking of getting involved in dragon boating in particular, what age range could be involved in a team or the sport?
I'll let you go with this.
We can go as young as 12. We have 14-year-olds. We had a youth team compete at the Greater Moncton Dragon Boat Festival at the end of May. They had a blast. They are now looking at fundraising to be able to go back next year. So we have those team members, and we have our oldest member, I believe, is 87.
Wow.
And everything in between. And again, all levels of fitness, activity, involvement in the community, whatever. It's you're not really judged by being the best at volleyball or being a soccer player or being good at hockey. You're judged by being able to get in the boat and paddle with others and keep in time and laugh when somebody tells a sick joke.
Now, was this sport is new to being based in St. Andrews about 3 years? Is that right?
2019, yeah.
Is it new to both of you as well, or did you have a history with the sport prior to the club starting here?
I'd never paddled before.
I had kayaked years and years. I've got years of kayaking, but never paddled in a dragon boat. I got sort of pulled along by Pat Barker, who had suggested at one of our age-friendly community focus groups that this might be something that could give people an outlet, another activity, and an interest in the community. And so that's how I got involved. Before that, I'd seen a dragon boat, but that was about it.
Yeah, and that's one thing too. Throughout COVID, even with the way things turned out, we started the club in 2019. 2020, we were locked down, but the club was able to purchase some stand-up paddle boards, so people were still able to get out on the water and paddle. And then in 2021, we bought a second boat, so we were able to do our physical distancing and continue to paddle. Yeah. So, which was absolutely fabulous that we were able to do that and continue as a club to have fun.
The second boat, it must come in handy too if you're preparing for something like this festival where you're racing, to have that second boat there to challenge each other.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Getting enough people to, and you don't have to have a full boat. A boat can carry 20 paddlers, but we can get out with, even if we have 10 on each boat, we were able to have a couple of races and just to kind of get the feel of it and know what it's like.
And give the steerers the experience of steering a race course.
True. That's true too, yeah.
It's been neat to be based in this community, to have Katy's Cove is really where you're based here, and it's a couple blocks really from the TV station, so I get to come down anytime there's an activity going on or some news, a new boat. And recently I got to go down to see that you have a youth group. So you've expanded quite a bit in just this 3-year history of your club. But it was neat to see that there were teenagers on the water, and a huge number of them. Are you excited by this growth? And how have you seen it impact the community in terms of the people getting involved and also meeting up with people that you might not normally cross paths with?
Well, I think the youth group opened my eyes to the kids can get out and should get out and enjoy the water and water sport. I think, because I did a lot of the steering with the youth group when they were practicing, to see them work so well as a team was just amazing, and quickly they got it, and they encouraged each other. It's a very positive sport. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that of any other sport where you get this sort of positive vibe no matter what. You mean, somebody can hit your paddle and you think, and you don't, like if somebody hit my horse, I'd get mad at them. But if somebody hits my paddle, it's okay, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I've told so many people that it's the first team sport that I actually enjoy. I've tried volleyball, I've tried basketball, I've tried all of that. This one, it's so much fun, and you're outside and in such a beautiful surrounding. Katy's Cove, you can't beat it. It's so beautiful. You have peacocks calling next to you. You've got bald eagles flying overhead and cormorants swimming alongside you sometimes. So it's an absolute beautiful area, and it's breathtaking at times to be out on the water Sunday morning or Saturday morning when it's so quiet and still.
I know my brother David Hogarth, shout out to my brother David, who
Hi,
is
David.
part of the paddling club.
Yes, he is.
He now lives in Fredericton. He still travels down every weekend to be a part of it, because for him, moving back home to be in New Brunswick, this was a huge part of him building a social circle again. And one thing that he explained to me, because I don't remember growing up that he loved sports. Really, I thought I was the one that played the sports, but he said it's not really that competitive edge you can feel in some sports where one player might shine. He said you really are in sync with each other, and that's what makes. So is that something that appeals to people about the sport?
It's exactly why I've enjoyed it so much, for sure. It's more of a camaraderie, and it's a true team effort. You're out there, and
we have some paddlers who have some physical limitations, and they come out religiously. They paddle the same as everybody else, and they're treated the same as everybody else. It's just there isn't. We've got some very athletic paddlers, and very strong athletic paddlers, and we've got some. I pretend to be strong, but I'm not really. But I can do a few strokes and make it look good. But you don't feel that you have to be working out 5 days a week to be able to go and paddle with our team. You show up for a practice and you get out on the water, and as Shelley said, I mean, the venue is second to none. When the individual from 22 Dragons delivered the boat last year, he saw the venue and he went, "Oh my gosh, this is perfect." And now we couldn't do a 2K race, but that's probably good.
it would be challenging.
It would be challenging.
Carolyn and I were lucky enough to go to Montreal and do a steering clinic in May, and fabulous venue there, absolutely amazing. However, when we came back and I was practicing my steering and we were paddling around the cove, and I thought, no, this is a little piece of heaven. It's so much. It's just closer to nature, and it's just so beautiful.
You're taking in what's so beautiful about the Bay of Fundy, and also having that closed offness of the cove. And luckily the gates are fixed again.
Yes, thank goodness. But the other thing I think, and I think Shelley alluded to it, but we have their families come down there and they're playing on the beach, or they're swimming in if the young kids are inside the dock, some of the other kids or family members are swimming outside, and they'll stop and chat with us. I mean, it's just. You get a sense of community there, so it's not, and I don't think people feel threatened by the dragon boat. I mean, a couple times we've had to ask people to move from the dock so we can unload, so we can get. We didn't want to hit them, but but they go, oh yeah, okay, and it's neat to have that whole sense of water sports or water activities and sunshine and nature, and people of all ages.
I think you've definitely introduced, because Katy's Cove, it attracts both locals and tourists, so you've had the opportunity to,
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's what I'd say, accidentally market the sport from Katy's Cove, just down the hill from the Algonquin, to all these visitors to our community too.
We do attract a lot of attention, especially when we're out and paddling away and practicing, and people stop to watch from both sides of the cove. They'll be out by the gates and stop and watch and taking pictures, and
And the boat
And from the
itself,
docks.
the boats themselves are remarkable to look at.
They are pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we'd probably get more attention if we put the dragon head and tail on them. Yeah.
Once in a while we should do that and have a drummer.
And these are the paddles we're sitting beside right now. I don't know if they can see that.
This
at
is
home,
Carolyn's, yeah.
but- which are also quite beautiful.
They are.
I'm sure in motion as well. I'd love to talk about one of your founding members who was really integral in bringing dragon boating to St. Andrews. I think what's also exciting about your club is that one of your founding members, Pat Barker, she's since moved to British Columbia. She was a champion racer and coach. Can you talk a little bit about her really tremendous athletic and sports history background and the role she played in bringing this here?
Pat, was she did track and field. She started running in high school. So she's always been involved in sports throughout her life. She's been paddling for, I'm going to say, 35 years, basically out west. She got very involved in paddling, whether it was dragon boat, outrigger, 1, 2, 3 seater, out there also. She has coached the U.S. women's world team at the World Championships. So, she's got credentials up the yin-yang. She's paddled and coached at events internationally. Tremendous experience, just a wealth of knowledge, and she's also an excellent coach. She's very thorough, but she's very positive, in terms of her feedback. So you never be made to feel like a fool, or like you're never going to learn the sport. And I think she passed that on to the team that's coaching now. We have 5 coaches. Unfortunately, 2 are for work commitments are not able to make too many of the practices. So we're lucky that way because it's not all falling on one person. And I think the coaching team is learning as they go, but I think going to events like the other festivals in other communities really helps to consolidate and help you learn what else you maybe can do with your team, or how to increase that sense of cohesion.
I know Pat's still watching from a distance, especially with so much available on Facebook in terms of video, but it's amazing that you have such impressive roots of your team, and I'm sure she's proud to have left this as her mark on the area before leaving for the West Coast. What do you both get out of it individually as a sport and as a group activity?
Honestly, for me, I can say that I started out just as a paddler, and self-confidence, learning something new, being able to keep up, because there's times when we're going pretty fast and you're digging deep trying to just keep going.
Nasty coaches.
We start out early in the season. Your warm-up might be a minute, and by the end of the season our warm-ups are closer to 6 minutes and more, depending on who's coaching. So just being able to dig deep and realize that, even at the ripe old age of almost 55 or 84 or whatever, being able to continue and enjoy a sport like that, but also stepping up and learning to steer. So another progression and stepping up and learning something new. So it's been a huge growth for me in many ways, trying to keep up and learn new stuff. So,
Ellen?
So I come at it from it flowing from the age-friendly community initiative. So for me, it's the seeing a sport in this community that is open basically to everyone, that encourages people to work together, and brings people together of different interests, different backgrounds, but we often end up going to someplace like the Red Herring for a meal afterwards, just because there is that sense of camaraderie and stuff, and with people I wouldn't have known otherwise. So a bit like Shelley, I like the steering aspect, probably because I like to be in control. So the steer is the ultimate control on the boat. If there's a problem or something is happening, the steer overrides the coach. But that I'm being a bit facetious. But I like being able to ensure that the boats can go out, that not everybody can steer, and everybody should try it. Everybody should be able to. If something happened to your steer, somebody else is going to your boat won't go anywhere without a steer. So it's again people learning a different skill. But I think it's also sort of similar to Shelley's, challenging me. I mean, I won't reveal my age. I'm younger than Shelley.
We know that. At heart, for sure.
But taking on a coaching course, taking a steering certification, who would have thought? Raising funds to buy dragon boats, who would have thought? Now I do fundraising, and I think we also should give a shout out to our MLA, Kathy Bacchus, because she has been instrumental in getting us some grants, which have helped us purchase the boats and equipment, and is helping us hold this festival. So, which is what we want to do and what we want to bring to the community. I think it's just another feather in St. Andrew's cap that this community embraces events such as this, and I just I just think it's tremendous.
I think anyone who even follows town council knows how active you've been in terms of age-friendly, making St. Andrews this age-friendly, not just destination, but place to live. I wonder, though, if you're looking at something like the paddling club and dragon boating, where you see it really working. Sometimes I think we think of age-friendly as appealing just to older people, being accessible, but when you see it actually have these intergenerational vibes on this level, is this one of your prouder moments and accomplishments in terms of your goals of what an age-friendly community can be?
Totally. All research points to intergenerational activities keep all of us healthier mentally, physically, regardless of age. It keeps a 5-year-old, makes them a happier, healthier person as much as a 95-year-old. And so having this type of activity, I mean, our problem is if we were in BC, we probably could paddle year-round, but here it's a little chilly in the winter. But having this, and we started at the end of April.
Yep.
This year. It was going to give us nearly 6 months of paddling, which is tremendous. So it's again, and it's an example when we go and apply for funds to get benches or to look at how we support people living in their homes, being able to stay in the community and live in their homes with support from other entities, having things like all these age-friendly initiatives such as the paddling club is some of the reasons that we get the money, because people say this is a community that is investing in itself.
I know from a youth perspective, if youth are interested, they can even find out at the youth center how to get involved, which is wonderful. But let's say someone's watching at home right now, is the best way via Facebook. If they either want to join the club, get more information on the festival, or just find out more about what you do.
So, go ahead.
You can always reach us through Facebook. And for the festival, we actually have launched a Facebook page just for the festival, as well as an email just for the festival, which is
Race by the Sea.
And at gmail.com
is the email, and then if you just go on Facebook on Race by the Sea, our Facebook page will come up.
Race by the Sea Dragon Boat Festival.
Or just even Race by the Sea.
Race by the Sea will bring it up now. I don't know if you can see this. This is one of our social media flyers.
Perfect.
Are you able to see that?
And for anyone wishing to come to the festival, do they just show up? Are there tickets? How does it go in terms
It's
of
free admission. Just show up. Now we will be blocking off the parking lot in Katy's Cove, and we will be providing shuttles courtesy of Eastern Charlotte Waterways. They're electric vehicles. So we will have signs for parking in the Harry Mallory Field and If we need to overflow into the arena, then we will shuttle people from there. And some people will walk. I mean, I understand if you're living in the subdivision or at the hotel, you can walk down. The other thing I think about the festival, one thing we didn't say is we are going to have a breast cancer survivor challenge.
Yes.
And that is, so the breast cancer survivor teams will race against each other. And we will have the breast cancer ceremony, the coronation ceremony, which is a very moving ceremony. And I think a tribute to all of us who have family members who have had and survived or
Breast
succumbed.
and prostate cancer actually are recognized as together with most of the ceremonies. So it is definitely an emotional part of the day. It only takes about half an hour, but anybody who hasn't been, well, there's very few people who haven't been touched in some way, so in their lives by someone who's been affected. So it's time to stop and reflect about how short life can be and how special every day is.
Well, I look forward to spending August 27th with you at the festival, and also seeing you down at the Cove very soon. Thank you both for being here today.
Vicki.
My brother might convince me just yet. My guests today have been Shelley Turner and Carolyn Davies from the St. Andrews Paddling Club. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thank you for watching Southwest Magazine.
Southwest Magazine is a news and public affairs production of CHCO Television.